Who are you?
Don't you know me, Clark? I'm Lex Luthor.
Smallville was perhaps one of the most popular superhero television shows of the early 2000s. The show, which ran for 10 seasons, premiered in 2001 and depicted the life of Clark Kent in a fictional town called Smallville, Kansas, before he was old enough to become Superman. Smallville portrays Clark Kent's backstory and even features characters we all know and love from the Superman comics, like Lois Lane. The series was very positively received, and even the star of the Superman movies, Christopher Reeves, voiced his approval and ended up making 2 guest appearances on the show before his death. Much of the success of the show can be attributed to the stellar performance given by Tom Welling, the actor who played Clark Kent. Welling was relatively unknown before appearing on the show, but fans were instantly taken by his acting talents. Though Welling was a star on Smallville for 10 seasons, he has been barely in any other films or TV shows. In fact, after the show ended, many observed that it was as if Welling had disappeared altogether. In today's video, we're going to be revealing the truth behind Tom Welling's disappearance after Smallville. Stay tuned, because you don't want to miss this list. 1. Humble beginnings. It's important to note that when Tom Welling was first cast on the show Smallville, he was considered a rising star by many in Hollywood. In fact, he was even in some big-name shows and movies before his time on Smallville. The actor initially started working in construction after graduating from high school, until he was discovered by a modeling scout at a party in Nantucket in 1998. After that, Welling began to model for several clothing brands, such as Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and Abercrombie & Fitch. However, Welling often expressed that he did not like modeling, felt he wasn't any good at it, and that he wanted to try to pursue acting instead. After moving to Los Angeles, he was cast in a few small roles on television like Judging Amy, Special Unit 2, and Undeclared. Besides these small roles, Welling was relatively undiscovered when he was cast as Clark Kent in Smallville, after a nationwide search for the perfect actor. 2. Executive producer. One of the reasons we don't see Welling on the big screen or small screen anymore is because he's moved on to doing some off-camera work in the industry. He is very fond of serving as a producer and has even tried his hand at directing. In fact, Welling served as co-executive producer on Smallville Season 9, and then was promoted to the full executive producer for Season 10. In 2020, Welling also served as executive producer on a show called Professionals, in which he also played the role of Vincent Corbo. Welling hasn't just stuck to producing the show he also stars in, though. In 2010, Welling served as executive producer on a CW show called Hellcats. Welling has also tried his hand at directing on Smallville, and actually ended up directing 7 episodes of the show. It's clear that Welling is multi-talented, and the reason we might not see him on screen as often anymore might be because he's exploring some of his off-screen talents like directing and producing. 3. A couple films. In addition to starring on television for Smallville, Welling has been in some movies. Welling has only chosen a few film roles over the years, and it's clear that he is becoming more and more picky with which parts he accepts. In 2003, Welling starred in his first film, Cheaper by the Dozen, as Charlie Baker. Welling played this part so well, he was even nominated for the Male Breakout Star Teen Choice Award. When he was asked in an interview about why he chose to accept the role, he replied that he was excited to be in a movie with comedy legend Steve Martin. In addition to the sequel, Cheaper by the Dozen 2, Welling has starred in 4 other movies over the years: The Fog, Parkland, Draft Day, and The Choice. During his time on Smallville, it's certain that Welling did not have enough time to film a lot of movies while also starring on the show. Since Smallville ended, though, it's clear that Welling has decided to take a step back from the limelight, as the film roles he has accepted have been few and far between. 4. He missed quality time with his family. One of the main reasons that Welling decided to step back from the spotlight and his role as a celebrity is because he missed spending quality time with his family. During his time starring on Smallville, his weeks consisted of long work days and very little free time. While the tight schedule was necessary to keep the show's filming on track, Welling notoriously hated the busy lifestyle away from his family while they were filming up in Vancouver. In an interview with BuzzFeed, Welling admitted, "I spent 10 years where my life was 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. on set. From an emotional standpoint, I was basically cut off from everyone." Sounds like he had a really tough time during that period of his life. Even though he was so successful successful in his career. 5. Return to the small screen with Lucifer. It's important to note that while Welling's career may have slowed down in the years following Smallville, he wasn't fully retired either. In 2017, Welling was cast on season 3 of the Fox show Lucifer. On the show, he played a character named Marcus Pierce, who is a police lieutenant and serves as the season's antagonist. Fans were excited to see Welling back on screen, but they were also curious as to why he chose this particular show to make his return to acting. When asked about it in an interview, Welling replied that it was for a lot of reasons, one of which being that the show was filming in LA rather than Vancouver, which is where Smallville was filmed. It shoots in LA, which is good because I live in LA. Having spent so much time in Vancouver, the idea of traveling to me isn't a priority. In a sense, it's luxury problems, the actor said. Some speculated that Welling chose Lucifer because his character on it, Marcus, is so different to the good guy Clark Kent he played on Smallville. In response to this, Welling said, "It wasn't necessarily because of Clark that I chose this character. I think it was a number of things. It was the cast, the subject matter, the showrunner, Greg Beeman recommendation, the location. It was so many more factors than just, I don't want to play Clark again. But I'd be lying if I was saying that I'm not enjoying playing something very different for sure." 6. Role reprise. Welling didn't turn out to have too much disdain for his previous character of Clark Kent, though, as he ended up reprising the role in a 2019 crossover episode of Batwoman. Batwoman had been doing a lot of crossover episodes with other characters from the DC Comics, so fans had speculated that Welling may have been next in the lineup. However, a lot of people thought Welling's return to the screen was unlikely, as he had taken a step back from acting for such a long time, and only returned to play a very different character on Lucifer. When Welling ended up making a cameo during part 2 of the Arrowverse crossover titled Crisis on Infinite Earths, fans were overjoyed to see Welling portraying his old character again. In the memorable scene, Clark Kent reveals to Lex Luthor that he has given up his superpowers, yet still has enough physical strength to beat up his adversary without powers. Apparently, when Welling was first given the script for the scene, he was very happy about the way it was written. In an interview about the episode, executive producer Mark Guggenheim said that he basically said to me, "You guys have basically written one scene that I can't say no to," which was really nice. Sounds like Welling thoroughly enjoyed his role reprise as Clark Kent. 7. Never one for the Hollywood lifestyle. Another reason Tom Welling has largely stayed out of the spotlight is because he doesn't fit in with other celebrities and people in the industry. Welling has openly admitted several times that he was never one for the Hollywood lifestyle, and many fans speculate that this is largely the reason he has taken a step back from acting. In fact, after Smallville ended, Welling was open about the fact that being on the show for so many years exhausted him, and that he was ready for a much-needed break. In an interview with BuzzFeed, the actor said, "I needed to figure out what was going on in my head a little bit. There was some adjusting that I needed to get back into real life and to make up for lost time as well. I was like, guys, I'm out of here." He also expressed his dislike for fame and the fast world of the celebrity lifestyle in another interview. "I don't want to be a celebrity for the sake of being a celebrity. I want to work and then go home and live in private," he stated. 8. Family man. Along with wanting to remain private about his family and home life, it's clear that Welling has spent a lot of time with his family during his hiatus. Over the years, Welling has been married 2 times. In 2002, Welling got married to a model named Jamie White in a ceremony that had many of Welling's Smallville co-stars in attendance. The couple stayed together for many years, but sadly divorced in November of 2015. Since then, Welling has gotten remarried to an equestrian named Jessica Rose Lee. Welling and Lee married in 2018, and the pair welcomed a son in January of 2019. Considering Welling has spent so much time building a new marriage and welcoming a son to his life in the past few years, it's no wonder he had to take a few years off from the busy lifestyle that came from starring in Smallville to focus on his family. And with that, we wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.